I'm Matt.
And I'm Chris.
We're best friends.
And brothers in the fire service. And this is the 360 Podcast. Welcome to the 360 Podcast with Matt and Chris and our very special guest, Cindy Diltz. For you folks at home, Cindy's husband did how many years?
23.
23. Started with Sun City West, or was he on with Rural Metro?
No, he was Sun City West right
Sun
off the
City
bat.
West
Yep.
right off the bat. Chad's an amazing guy. Was an amazing engineer. Always fun times hanging out with Chad at the
Better half
station.
of the Diltz family.
There it is. Cindy, why don't you tell everybody what your specialty is?
I am a financial advisor, so I specialize in planning for retirement, long-term, short-term, different goals of any kind of retirement, and education, which is the biggest thing I love to do, educating people on the importance of finance and the importance of knowing what to do and what your money's doing for you so that you can potentially have the best retirement possible.
Absolutely, which
Yep.
is the end goal in the fire
Absolutely.
service,
When you
right?
work this hard and work this long, you've got to have something to look forward to.
So, and you were, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, you were able to help Chad and your family meet that goal
Yeah.
early.
Yeah. He was in the drop at 20, and so he was supposed to go to 25, but 3 years in, it was like, let's just pull the trigger and do it. Nothing really is stopping us, so we don't need. Luckily, we were in a position where we didn't need any in the extra 2 years of drop and everything. So, and he was kind of itching and having some other issues.
He's
so
ready to go, huh?
He was ready to
Yeah.
go, and I was tired of listening
For
to
sure.
him.
Can't
we
blame you,
said,
Chad.
"Let's
Can't
go.
blame you, buddy.
Let's go.
Yeah, good.
23 years is a long time.
It is.
2 years early is awesome. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, and the reason, while we're excited to have you here, I've been very fortunate enough that you've been helping my family
Yeah.
prep for that for the future for, I'd say it's 2, maybe 3 years
Yeah,
now.
I think so.
And I would just love for you to talk to people about like the importance of paying attention to your finances, having somebody help you set those goals, to be, because I would love to be in that position in, 15 years from now to be able to say, okay, well, we've done it right. We can get out early, right?
Yep.
So one of the first questions is, when we get started, is what is Chad up to these days? Because we had a meeting not too long ago.
Once, right?
You guys got back, yeah.
Smoking meat. And,
Yeah.
We just got back from an
Is he doing all the
travel.
cooking?
Most of it,
Good
yes.
for
I
him.
actually enjoy cooking, so
Okay.
I don't mind doing. But during the week when I'm working, he does most of it, and then
Yeah.
I'll cook on the weekends and stuff. So yeah.
Awesome.
But
Didn't
yeah.
you guys just get back from a long
Yeah, we
long
just
trip?
did an 8-week. I can work from anywhere. So his kids are all done and out of school, and they're still living with us, but ultimately they're adults. And so we took off for 8 weeks and got out of the summer heat. And
Hey.
it was amazing. We went up to Minnesota. We did 5,600-mile road trip in
Wow.
our trailer. But we
Awesome.
went up to Minnesota for a few weeks and stopped along the way, and then went to Indiana where his family lives for 4 weeks. And he got to enjoy and do a bunch there and just enjoyed the cooler weather. And
Oh, good for you guys.
yes, and then headed home and been home ever since.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that awesome?
He's a little over a year retired.
It'll
more.
be 2 years
Yeah.
since.
2
Well, actually, it
years.
was 2 years. September 17th
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
was
Time
his last
flies.
day.
I
yeah.
know, man.
But
2
so
years.
cool that you're doing stuff.
So he
with
would have
it.
just been retiring if we
Yeah.
had not done everything that we have done in the 12 years I've been doing this. So,
Wow.
yeah. So it doesn't take long. You don't have to do it forever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely something people can catch up with, but
Mhm.
it helps that I'm not retired yet. But
Yeah,
what's
for sure.
what's the point of?
Absolutely.
I can do it from anywhere. We're still doing all of our traveling and dreams, so why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
So if you'd be so kind then, can you kind of walk us through that plan that you had set up for him and when did you kind of get started on that, I guess? Because was that from day one that you started doing stuff with finance? And I know you kind of have a background in it.
Yeah,
So why
yeah.
don't
So
you?
I worked for a big corporation doing financials way from my whole, my whole career. But it wasn't like necessarily investing, but we had
Mhm.
always invested. We always did at least our matches and we always put in right from day one. Maybe not always the max, but we were in our 20s when we started. So when you start early, you don't have to do a ton.
Mhm.
And so it just kind of, luckily, we kind of made out on a few little, my company split stocks. And, we
Okay,
had a
sure.
few things along the way
Yeah,
that went in our
yeah.
favor. But ultimately, once I quit that job and kind of became independent in doing this, that's when we really got serious about everything, got serious about getting out of debt, which is one of our biggest issues on why we can do what we can do.
Okay.
And then just being able to put whatever we can into those retirement accounts. And then, of course, I make sure that they're growing at the right thing and you're in the right things for the right reasons. And we have a great planning tool that we use that I use with all my clients. We use it too, just like as if we were a client of my own.
For sure.
And so we just kind of kept using that as our good tool and guideline. And that's when we sat down multiple times before he pulled the trigger, even before he signed his drop paperwork.
Okay.
It was like, we're on track with what we need to do.
Mhm.
Owning my own business definitely helps with some of that too, because technically he's still putting into retirement
Okay.
because I
Oh,
pay
okay.
him.
Okay.
So, we got a few little things like that, but ultimately, it was just that knowledge, and having that knowledge is gold.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, from my personal point of view, that's what you've kind of instilled in our family is you've educated us. You've made sure we're paying attention to our finances. If we have questions, we reach out to you.
Yep.
And we follow that path in hopes that we'll be put in that situation. You said you started in the 20s, right? And there's a lot of people guilty right here didn't have that luxury, right?
Right.
So do you kind of think that you change up the game plan?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Depending on when people start.
Because we're starting to see a lot of that, I think, in the fire service. A lot of these older guys that are, after 30, they're like, man, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
I want to go to this challenging career. And they're essentially starting 10 years, 15 years later.
Yeah.
On
I'm
that
seeing a lot
retirement.
of like burnout with every career, actually. A lot of people are just getting burnt out on, and they want options. So I always say retirement's not working. It's the option of not working. So sometimes it's just putting yourself in a good position to where you can go do something you love to do, but maybe it doesn't pay as much, or maybe the benefits aren't as great.
Okay.
Just having all of those options, which is, that's what I'm here for too, is not just from an end result, but I want to kind of meet the goals all the way along the way too. Buying a house, buying a car, helping you get out of debt. That's all something that is part of the planning process. Some people are intimidated by a financial advisor, and that's why I like to do more of the education. It's your money, not my money.
Yeah.
So I believe that that's really important to know why you're doing what you're doing, and not just like, oh, well, I'll just do, which you guys are very bad at, which is good and bad in my position. Sometimes, sometimes I get clients that are a little too involved, and it's like, just trust me, a little bit. But then
it's like a happy medium.
It's got to be a happy medium between just understanding. I want you to leave my office knowing that you can go talk to your neighbors, your friends, your family, and say, we're doing this, and I know why we're doing this. And if that's not happening, then I'm not doing my job.
Well, I think there's again, guilty. I think there's a lot of guys and gals out there that are intimidated by it. Because the first time I met with you, you were like, what's your Arizona state login? What's this? And I'm like, I have a computer. I don't know. And what's your password?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. So after you kind of get through that and you take that first step, I mean, for us personally, it's just been amazing. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Full of education. Got us on a great plan to where we still have money in our paychecks. Actually, we're not pumping everything in there.
It's baby steps all along the way.
So I think that's another big reason why we're happy to have you here, is to kind of let the people that are on the fence about that just really take that leap.
Yeah.
Get with somebody. If they don't get with you, get with
That I was
somebody.
just
Pay
gonna
attention
say,
to your
like,
money.
even if it's not me, and that's totally fine. There's a lot of us out there,
Yeah.
but be careful because there's just not a lot that educate, So I think that's what kind of keeps
Well,
me different from everybody else.
I feel that's what kind of drew me to you, besides Chad, obviously giving us the introduction. But I personally, I felt really frustrated, and won't name names,
Yeah.
but just felt the financial organization that was managing my retirement wasn't answering questions, wasn't easily approachable. I couldn't get a hold of them. I think the thing that pushed me over is I was trying to actually give them a big chunk of money to put in an account, and it was like jumping through hoops.
Yeah.
So having
that's a big chunk of money to you, but to them it was probably
$6, man. That's a lot
it
of
was
money.
probably a
Hey,
nothing to
everybody,
them.
that's what I say. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million or you've got $50 that you
For
can
sure.
put away. It's all important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I don't have any limits, which a lot of advisors will have. They'll only take clients that have big portfolios or, things like that. And that being independent, I don't have quotas. I don't have anything I can take on anybody I want to. And I think that that's important as well, because everybody's money is important.
Sure.
So, and everybody should be treated the same, educated the same, and have all of the same,
Mhm.
as my $1 million people.
Of course.
Mhm.
So
Of course.
that's extreme. So that's a great point. Like everybody thinks what, like I'll even have people go, well, I only have, well, that shouldn't be in your vocabulary.
Yeah.
It's still hardworking money that you use. So let's make it work hard for you.
Absolutely.
And so that's really all I'm kind of here for too. And then just making sure that it lasts. And most people go, I don't even know what my retirement looks like. I don't know how much money I want or need.
Right.
And so a lot of the questions or they'll come back and go, I don't know what to ask you.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of prompting questions. And then next thing you know, we're an hour in and
It's very familiar. to
yes,
me right now.
exactly. Right. Like I'm talking about you.
For sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's definitely,
Well,
it's,
I personally, and the first time you and I met, you'd said this multiple times, is the worst thing is to have somebody who's been on the job for 20 years come in and say, hey, I'm ready to retire. And then you have to tell them, no, you're not.
You can, but it's
But,
not going to be a fun
yeah.
retirement. Yeah,
You got 8 more years to where it'll be a comfortable retirement.
exactly.
That's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And whoever's been in that situation, I feel for you. But again, the reason for having you here is so people don't get put in that situation.
Right.
They have the tools to get educated and find somebody to help them, hit those financial goals, to get your career done, hang it up, and then go on an 8-week, 5,600-mile
Vacation.
Yeah.
vacation,
Yeah.
man. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I feel like we, as a career, right, we have like tools that a lot of people don't have for a successful retirement. We've still got a pension that's not a super common thing anymore.
Correct.
We've got, on top of that, we've got like a 401a match. We have the post-employment health plan. But because we have of that, it's like overwhelming to some people. And then we also operate on like, not the real world's trickle down economics, but we have the firehouse trickle down economics where we just look at hey, that guy's going to leave soon. He looks like he's in a good spot. I'm going to do what he did, but I'm in a different tier than he is. My
Yes.
retirement plans look different than
Yeah.
his do. And I'm also like in a different economic state than when he put his money in. And so that is where I feel like that system of knowledge transfer that we use for everything can kind of hurt us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or a lot of them just think, oh, I got a pension. I don't need to
Yep.
do much else. Or it's amazing how many people don't even realize what all of those accounts are and what they do for them. Like
Yeah.
they just
Yeah.
know they have them.
They open up the app and they see all this money, but
Right.
who knows which money is which money
Which
and
money
what's
is-
doing what.
Exactly.
And then we also have like, I feel like generationally there was a group that got hired and was told, hey, don't worry about it. You do your 20 years, you're going to retire a millionaire.
Yep.
You'll have everything you need, right?
Put your $50 a
And,
paycheck away. You'll be fine.
You'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Right?
They realized at some point that wasn't good. My generation was told, hey, this is a great opportunity, but you have to do stuff. Here's the exact number you put in, and you put it in this account, and you never think about it. And that's better, but not optimal, not great. And so we have a lot of people that are like got hired around the time we did that have some money put away, but they don't know where it is. They don't know what it's doing. They just know, oh, I put in 12.5% because sitting in the academy, some guy with glasses and a PowerPoint told me you put in 12.5% here.
When did
and
you go do a PowerPoint at the academy?
Oh, it's future me. After I figured out time travel, but we're still at home tinkering. But so I guess we have all these opportunities, but maybe not the best roadmap to success.
Right.
And so if I know that you said already, like the very first thing people need to do is find an advisor, but after that, what are like your go-to steps?
Yeah, great question.
A new person should start doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the sign in my office that says, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So we put the plan together, right? You tell me what your goals are. I'm the one that tells you what the plan is and why we're doing it. So that's where the difference between what you were saying before, $50, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Or you think you've got this roadmap. Well, we make sure you have a roadmap. Or I say we, because I always talk about my assistant who helps me tremendously. I could not do this without her. But yeah, we put that plan together. We re-look at it at least yearly, if not mostly when people start getting closer to retirement. We may even up it to a couple times a year. But obviously I'm available anytime. So I always tell people, you have a question, financial, I may not be able to answer, but I find somebody who will. I've got a vast resource and network of different people that I refer to for the experts. I don't like to be the jack of all trades, so I know what I know and they know what they know. So if we do that, that's part of the plan as well too. And then we just kind of keep hitting that plan, and things can change. Life happens.
Sure.
So we need to update that plan accordingly. We don't just set it and forget it and I'll see you in 20 years, It's definitely something that has to change as life changes with you, whether that's more kids, whether that's you want 2 houses, whether you want to retire earlier, whatever that is, we make sure that we can help meet those goals for you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
And you, if I remember correctly, you have a pretty good portal for people to get a hold of you and schedule.
Yeah, I have a Calendly link is what it's
Okay.
called. It's a calendar that you just basically get to open up my calendar, look what's best for you, and plop yourself right into
Oh, that's incredible.
whatever.
Yeah, easy. It's like
whatever works.
firefighter
You can do it
easy,
at
man.
2
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning when you get done with the call and you're
Yeah.
like, I've been meaning to call her, or whatever it is, and you can just do it right there, and it's all
Yeah,
available.
That's the best thing
Yep.
I've ever heard. I hate making doctor's appointments, and they're like, would Thursday the 19th of October work? I'm like, I don't know. Let me pull it. Like, now I have to look at this
It's July.
calendar.
I don't know what's going on in October.
Like,
Yes,
right now I'm off
exactly.
shift, but they could move me, so
Yeah.
who knows? And
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's available. I actually am getting new business cards. I'm going to actually have that link put on my
Okay,
business
great.
card so that as people get that, they can just go onto that link and schedule it anytime. It'll be good for
We'll
all
have
of
Matt
my-
put that on the end of
Okay.
the show too.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
fine
okay,
too.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
send
can
it in,
send
yeah.
that. Send that, and again, it's all free for the first consultation. It's all really anything I do is free. If we do business and stuff, there are fees involved
For
with
sure.
all of that. That's
Of course.
all talked about and
Yeah.
discussed before moving forward with anything. But those
Absolutely.
fees that the investment companies charge that's how I get paid.
Okay.
So I get my portions of it and stuff. So I don't worry about
Mhm.
any other part. Obviously, we're putting food on our kids' tables
Sure,
and
absolutely.
taking care of ourselves. So there doesn't need to be anything more
Which
than
is
that.
amazing.
So yeah, there's definitely that. So highly encourage anybody to come and at least just have a conversation, if nothing
Absolutely.
else, right? It's free.
Yeah.
There's no intimidation. There's no high pressure sales,
Yep.
anything like that. So it can be Zoom call. They don't even have to come to the office if they don't
Perfect.
want to.
Oh, okay.
So we try to make it as flexible and as easy for your guys as I'll do them. It's out of the house. So
Yeah.
if somebody needs 7 o'clock at night, because that's when their kids are going to be in bed and it's easier for them and their wife to do together, or spouse of any kind, then that's what we do. I'm pretty flexible that way because I can step 3 steps into my house. So
Yeah. Which you have a real cozy casita office that
Yes,
I love at your
yes.
house. It's really nice. and-
yeah, so it is totally separate from the house. So there's no, it's just us,
Yeah.
you know, no big deal.
And that's kind of by 103. I'll give people
Yeah.
by Station 103, pretty
Yep.
close.
Yep. So people on this side of town where we are now might not be able to get over there. So
For
that's
sure.
why we do the Zoom calls and stuff. But you know, if it's also something like Station, it's easier for me to come to stations. I've done station
Okay.
visits as well. Don't always like to do that. It's one thing to just answer a few questions that
Yeah,
way. But if
absolutely.
you're wanting to do the full financial plan, I just think it's easier if we do it at the office or at your home through
Of
the
course.
Zoom, just because it's a lot of personal stuff.
It sure is.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody needs to be hearing that.
Yeah.
So we try to keep that as confidential as possible or as comfortable as the guys or the girls want it to be. So yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you've got Zoom calls, you've got an in-house office, you go to stations, no excuses, right?
Right, yeah,
For a lot of
really. We
people.
try to be as flexible, like I said, as possible. So I don't always have on my calendar those later night appointments or even earliers. It's pretty much a standard 9 to 5.
For sure.
But if people need that,
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to make sure that they know that that's available as
Awesome.
well. So
You don't just do public safety retirement, right?
No,
It's
no.
anybody and everybody.
I do,
that
yeah,
wants
absolutely.
to look into
So
it.
I you know, I kind of just do this as more of a labor of love with
Yeah.
the fire department,
Right.
because of too many guys have come and are not either educated or comfortable or don't get the support that they need everywhere. So yeah, so it's kind of my little passion that I love to do. So, but yeah, I'm wide open. I actually used to be endorsed by Dave Ramsey, so a lot of
Oh,
people
right.
know him, don't know him. He's a big
You know who Dave
financial.
Ramsey
I do, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
just checking.
Allie's
So I
parents,
was
big Dave
actually one of
Ramsey.
his endorsed financial advisors for many
Okay.
years. So it just got to the point where I couldn't.
Well,
take
he's
on-
got it's live like no other, so you could live like no
yeah,
other.
yeah.
Which, if
Spend
you think
like
about
him,
that, is amazing.
It's all about
right?
cash and being
Yeah.
debt free. So we still follow those guiding principles
absolutely.
and stuff, but we don't necessarily. I just didn't need the endorsement, so to speak,
Yeah.
anymore. He's kind of changed a few things that just didn't go.
Okay, didn't
So,
jive, huh?
Yeah, it didn't jive
you know
with
what
kind of
happens.
how I want to do my business and stuff like
Okay.
that. It is my own, so I can kind of build
Sure.
it the way I want.
Yeah.
So, but I love that concept about it. That's how Chad and I've been able to do as much as I, was able to completely quit my corporate job, cold turkey, 6-figure
Wow.
job, just nothing. And lived on Chad's salary for many years while I was getting the business going and stuff. And that was only possible by only had the house. So
Yeah.
we were debt free other than
Mm.
our house. And that's a huge driving factor. So
Sure.
I highly, highly recommend working on getting as debt free as possible
Okay.
because it just
Very good goal.
opens so many avenues and so many doors. It's insane. People don't realize. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like people do make a good amount of money, the national average, right? But then when you add on the mortgage, car payments, credit card payments,
Mm-hmm.
the Amazon credit card, probably got one, don't you, Matt?
No, we I have one card. I have an Apple card only because my dad has American Express Platinum, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it's metal, and he would always rub it in my face, and so I wanted a metal card. And the
An
Apple
asset.
card you can get, there's no yearly fee. You don't
Yeah.
have to be great to earn it. So
Yeah.
I got that, and then anytime I see my dad, I like accidentally drop it out of my wallet.
Love it. And again, it's not that you can't have those things. You just have to limit it or pay it off or use it for points and pay it
Yeah,
off.
oh,
Like
absolutely.
again, it's all part of the strategy. It's all a big strategy. Use your money the proper way.
Of
And
course.
there's definitely ways to do that.
Yeah, it's a balance, right? Like
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to put too much money into retirement because then I won't experience anything now and the future's unknown. But it's not putting everything away.
Right.
It's starting something, and the younger you start with that compounding interest and all of that, the less it has to be monthly. But it's still live a life, still take vacations.
Absolutely.
But let's be planning for the future.
Yep. Yeah. 18-year-old making, putting $50 a month away at 60, they will have about 1.5 million on $50 a month.
Wow.
So
That's
start
good money, man.
early.
Yeah.
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 And way less painful to hand over that $50
Right?
now than to sit down and think you're going to retire and have that conversation and be
Say
Absolutely.
you got to put $1,000 a month
Yeah.
away to hit
you
your
got to
goal.
put $1,000 a month away, and you have to spend another 5 years on the truck that you mentally thought was done.
Yes.
Which
yeah,
is,
it's
I
tough.
can't imagine that conversation. That would be
Right.
very hard.
It is. I've had to have some hard conversations for
Oh,
sure.
wow.
It's not a fun one, but
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I also call myself the marriage counselor of financial advising as well too, because sometimes it takes a little coordinating to get
Sure.
husband and wife to
Yeah.
get on the same page. And
Absolutely.
you always have one that's a little bit more of a spender, a little more one,
For
you know.
sure.
So there's a.
Are you
happy
taking
medium.
another shot at me? Because I feel like this is a shot at
Are
me.
you the spender?
I have an
You're for
Amazon
sure the
problem.
spender,
I,
yeah.
I have an Amazon
I don't know why I
problem,
asked
like-
that question. As soon as I
So
said
Dawn,
it, I was
yeah,
like, I know
I'm
the
pretty.
answer.
Dawn and I just met with her probably like a month ago or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
and she was like, "Yeah, we'd have more money if somebody was on Amazon every day." I was like, "Yeah, get off Amazon." Like, can't help it, man. And then you see it on the TikTok shop, and you're like, "Oh,
right?
it's got to be real."
I know, like
Yeah, it's
every
gotta
other
be
thing's
great.
an ad anymore, and it's like, oh, that looks like I can't live without it.
So then that's also a part of the plan,
Yes.
especially if you're married,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I would hope. I mean, my wife and I try and do that all the time and have these conversations because it's, it takes both of us.
Yeah,
We're both working. We're
absolutely.
both trying to get to that same goal.
Yeah.
Thank you again for
You're
coming
welcome.
out.
Thank
We
you for
appreciate
having
you
me.
having here.
Yeah.
How fortunate we are to have you a part of the Fire family and how you take care of all of us. It's
Yes.
amazing. In closing, what would be your best recommendation for younger guys, older guys, people of all facets, people who get to see this about their finances and their future goals?
Younger, just start young and start early. It makes it a lot easier on your long-term goals. Find somebody who educates and makes a plan for you, and not just take your money and invest it, because anybody can do that.
Sure.
So
Okay.
you need somebody who's on the same kind of path as you as well too. And I think that's with any age or wherever you are at in your career, start getting ready for it, because there are ways to invest and stretch money and take care of things, and all different rules you need to worry about. So even people who think, I got it, I know what to put my money in and it's growing fine, I think it does come down to making sure you know all of those ins and outs, and there are a lot.
Absolutely.
Mostly you guys have a lot of different options. You have a lot of different plans that you have to deal with, that you have no idea which ones work for what.
Pre-tax, post-tax, like
post-tax, when you can take it out,
Yeah.
penalties,
Yeah,
no penalties,
absolutely.
long-term tax benefits, short-term tax benefits, medical, like we look at all of it. So, as much as if I've always been open, if you want to have a say in what your stuff is invested in, let's do that. Like no problem. I mean, I give my guidance and my expertise and my, but ultimately, if you want to be in a certain company or certain industry, certain whatever, let's do it. Let's find it. Let's see if that's possible. Again, it's your money, not mine. So make sure you find somebody, if it's not me, that kind of has a little bit of that same mentality, and not just give me your money and I'll take care of it.
that's
'Cause
amazing.
That's where we get a bad rap.
Of course.
I feel like,
Absolutely.
advisors in general, or they're scary because they are, they just don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
For sure.
No, you need to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
And that's a lot of people are intimidated by their money or money management in general.
In
And
general, they know they're doing something, but don't know really
you
why
know, the
they're
bottom
doing
line
it, or-
is it's your money, and you're just not gonna, give it away.
Yeah.
So pay attention to it. Have a professional in your corner, and especially how great of a resource you are for us, because part of the Fire family. So we're very fortunate to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, you're welcome.
Um,
Thank you for
tell
having me.
Chad,
Really
super
appreciate
jealous on all facets. You're not only great financial advisor, amazing person. Tell him to pick it up on the cooking. You seem to
Right.
like be,
Am I getting too skinny?
No, I got to give you a break though. That's what I'm saying. Come on, Chad, man, have that dinner ready when she gets
Right.
home, buddy.
Laundry done.
Laundry
like he does.
done.
He does too. You guys
Don't
can give
forget
him
to
a
dust
ha-
the furniture.
Right. I think when he first started the fire department, he didn't even know how to hold a broom, and now he's doing laundry
Yeah.
and clean. You know,
I love it.
cooking and
Mr.
yeah.
Mom, huh?
He is. He's really done well, and
That's
he
amazing.
still gets to go and visit his parents, and I encourage that too. And so
Awesome.
I need my break.
Yeah.
That's been my biggest adjustment,
Chad
right?
break,
When you're
yeah.
used to 48 hours,
For
all
sure.
these-
Yes.
You know, all the spouses will understand that piece when you're used to you guys being gone for 48 hours and we
Yeah.
get to do what we want. It was a little bit of an adjustment,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
the 2 days
we're
of
figuring
peace.
it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're figuring it out.
And
What are you talking about?
My-
Dawn says, I've missed you so much every time.
Yeah.
When
Allie-
you have little kids, you do. But when they're older and they're kind of self-sufficient, you're like, get
It's my time.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Allie says the 2 days I'm gone are the only 2 days that all the cabinets in the house are closed.
You leave all the cabinet doors
Oh,
open?
I'm notoriously bad at that.
Unbelievable, man. That is not acceptable whatsoever. Well, thanks
thank
again.
you.
We appreciate it, Cindy. We'll have all the information at the end of the episode. If you need to reach out to Cindy for anything, please reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
If you don't reach out to Cindy, which I highly recommend you do, and just get a plan in place, get some knowledge behind your finances so we could all get out of this job healthy, happy, with the money to enjoy life.
And